All right, happy Saturday night to everybody out there. Larry Kruger, Ryan Smith with you. Welcome to the Krueg Show.
Plus 1,000 tickets right now. It started on time, baby.
That's right. That's right. On time. Well, we said we were going at 9, then 9:15, and we pushed it back to 9:30. Yeah. But here we are. It is 9:30, and we are, in our world, right on time. And we should tell you before we get rolling that big thanks to Casey Bateman and the good people at Telmetrics for being the sponsor of the show today. If you're an occupational therapist, an orthopedic surgeon, a chiropractor, or a physical therapist of any kind, Telmetrics is designed for you to use in your practice. It can greatly benefit your patients. Telmetrics uses computer vision and artificial intelligence, and they provide a platform for outpatient rehab therapy services, both in the clinical and telehealth environments. So using Telmetrics can improve your patient's experience and much more. And for more information, and I know you all would like more information because this is very useful, telmetrix.co.co, telmetrics.co. And thanks to Casey Bateman for being a sponsor of the Krueg Show. All right, Saturday in the NFL playoffs. The divisional round is here. I don't know where you want to start. The night game was all Eagles, 38-7. The early game went to the Chiefs, 27-20. And Patrick Mahomes badly sprained his ankle and then came back in the game. I got to think that's going to feel terrible tomorrow, and I got to think his status for next week will be kind of up in the air. And then, of course, tomorrow we've got Bengals-Bills in Buffalo at noon Pacific, and at 3:30 Pacific, the 49ers and the Dallas Cowboys. Join me at 1 o'clock. I know you will, on 95.7 The Game with the great Low Neal. We'll walk you towards kickoff of Niners-Cowboys. 3:30 kickoff. Post-game we'll do on TalkSport in London, and then we will do a post-game live stream. And then if you don't get enough of me tomorrow in the post-game live stream, check me out Monday morning with Dan Dibley, sitting in for Willard on a Monday, 9 a.m. to noon on 95.7 The Game. But, Rye, what game do you want to talk about first? The Eagles, whitewashing the Giants right out of there, or Kansas City that had an injury to Mahomes but still found a way to win?
How about we give a quick touch quickly on the first game and then move on to the Philly thing? Because I think that's from the judge of the comments. I think Niners fans are a little nervous. Definitely don't want to be looking already ahead of the Cowboys, but that Philly team looked like a machine. Let's talk a little bit about the Chiefs.
Kid Trickster agrees. He says, Larry, sorry, we got no chance against the Eagles. No chance? No chance?
We'll get to that.
But no chance.
But yeah, no, it feels just very I desperately want to combat that, but then it feels like super jinxy because the Niners haven't even played their game yet. But Jags Chiefs, honestly, the most impressive drive of Mahomes was excellent to start the game, but just the fact that Chad Henne led that 98-yard drive, so it was something crazy. That was a huge touchdown that they scored, and then Mahomes did not look the same. All of a sudden the AFC, if you're a Bengals or a Bills fan, you're just salivating now because you're like, oh my God, the king is injured, the king is hurt, they're vulnerable. So.
It's interesting in that Jacksonville ran for 7.6 a carry, and the Chiefs' run D looked really vulnerable in this one. But as you said, Mahomes, before he went out, looked awesome. His final stats, 22 of 30, 195 yards, 2 touchdowns. He wasn't sacked once, didn't turn it over. The guy who really stood out to me in this game was Isaiah Pacheco.
Seriously,
rookie running back, almost 8 yards a carry, 12 carries for 95 yards for Pacheco. And just the more I watch him, what a draft choice. 5'10", 216 pounds, kind of built like a bull, played at Rutgers, taken in the 7th round. And how ironic would it be if we see the Chiefs and Niners meeting up in the Super Bowl and the Chiefs have Isaiah Pacheco as their number one weapon, 7th round pick, and the Niners are leaning on Brock Purdy, also a 7th round pick. It just goes to show that, man, all those picks matter. And Pacheco is just he's got thickness, he's got heft, and then he's got 4.39 speed. And God, man, that one run that he got loose on, the 39-yard run, that was impressive. And it's just like, the other thing is credit Brett Veach, the GM for the Chiefs. I mean, he picked up Kadarius Toney. Kelsey was great today. 98 yards,
Unreal.
14 catches, two touchdowns. But Kadarius Toney, he had a 14-yard run as a runner. He caught 5 balls on 7 targets as a receiver. He iced the game with on the hands team on the onside kick by fielding it cleanly. So, man, he's really, really good. And then also, I think the Kansas City's done a nice job the last couple of years of just picking up guys in the back 7. I mean, and we know they've got, the big boy Chris Jones up front, and Jones is always monster. But Nick Bolton at linebacker, L'Jarius Sneed and Justin Reed and Juan Thornhill and Trent McDuffie and, on the back end, just really good players. And Kansas City's just done a nice job. So that was my takeaway. One that I don't know what Kansas City's going to be like if Mahomes can't go. It's like Andy Reid's such a great play caller, right? You almost get the feeling that they could win with Chad Henne.
I mean, that would be kind of nice. Chad Henne. Well, I guess if they did win with Chad Henne, again, getting, this is some future stuff. And then I guess Mahomes gets the extra week. Either way, I think Mahomes will, he'll shoot it up. He'll go. But definitely that's going to be a storyline all week, is just monitoring Mahomes in practice. But yeah, Pacheco, man, he's so good. But, I think he kind of gets a little bit of a raw deal, partially just because he wears number 10. And you're like, oh, little guy, little weapon on the Chiefs wearing number 10. And you're just like expecting it to be Tyreek Hill. And it's not Tyreek Hill. But, the guy's still awesome. That one run he had today, my favorite of his was when he spun out of the 2 defenders and he truck sticked them and then spun out and then walked along the sideline. But no, I mean, the Chiefs, Andy Reid also was like doing some Andy Reid stuff. I feel like I'm like, dude, like that's the narrative out on you, is that like you always like screw up with the timeouts and all of that. Like, when he challenged the spot of the ball and it was like so clearly short, and then it's like, dude, just burning a timeout for no reason. And then they ended up not getting it, but it worked out. Honestly, the Jags, I sort of thought the Jags were going to come back there until the fumble, really.
Jags got a nice little performance out of the ex-Niner too, Jermichael Hasty. I thought Hasty looked good. He caught a pass. He ran 4 balls for 36 yards. That's 9 yards a pop. Jacksonville's coming on. I mean, Peterson's a good coach. They've done a decent job personnel-wise. Trevor Lawrence looks like he's got a huge future. So, Travis Etienne's a good running back. They got some decent receivers. And they've got some athletes on defense, Ola Khan, Devin Lloyd, Rayshon Jenkins. I mean, they just got a bunch, Trayvon Walker. They just got a number of guys on defense that are pretty good athletes. The hit on Mahomes' ankle, I thought it was broken, but I guess they did an X-ray, figured out it wasn't broken, and he was back in there. I'm not sure. Does that mean that he's not there for the AFC Championship game? I mean, I don't know. I mean, does he shoot it up and go next week? I mean, it's
a tough bit. He's a tough son of a bitch. I mean, he did that like a couple. The year they won the Super Bowl, right? That was the year where he had the high ankle sprain. He kind of gutted through it. So I think it's a little bit like Steph Curry. Like he's had those injuries sort of before. He sort of knows how to manage them. But I will say although I did call them the king, I agree with the chat that there was a little bit too much sucking off of Mahomes by Collinsworth. Everything is, oh, this Mahomes, man. Oh, look at that Mahomes, man. Oh, he's the best in the business, man. And it's a bit much when it's like, okay, the guy won Super Bowl.
It's a lot of people in the chat here. Collins and Tirico are both insufferable. I don't know.
I like Collinsworth.
They don't bother me that much. I mean, Collinsworth does get an idea in his head and he kind of goes with it forever. Tirico's kind of, just kind of almost like you don't notice him. It seems like it's by design almost. But I don't know. To me, neither of those guys is. They're not my favorite, but they're not my,
Yeah.
it's not like I'm like, oh God, Tirico. To me, he's a non-factor. And Collinsworth,
Yeah.
I like Collinsworth more than Romo. I don't like Romo. I'm not a Tony
You know
Romo
what?
fan.
There was a few people that were on that early, the Romo, because you know what it is it's like it was exciting to get Romo, like it's like all the excitement and all the hype it up. But now it's kind of like, dude, all right, now that you're like an announcer and you're getting paid $1 zillion, you got to learn to let the game breathe a little bit. You don't need to be just going, you don't need to be going crazy on everybody. I don't know, Jim. I don't know. Too much for me.
As far as the other game, so the Chiefs beat the Jaguars, and now tomorrow it's Bengals, Bills in the AFC, and I really liked the Bills at the beginning of the year, but I'm starting to, after watching them struggle with Skylar Thompson and seeing their defensive front, where what is their defensive front? I mean, they got Ed Oliver.
Yeah.
The more I look at Buffalo, the more I think Buffalo's, just like their defense is not that great. I mean, Shaq Lawson, what's Shaq Lawson? Greg Rousseau, Boogie Basham, Daquan Jones. I mean, the only guy in their front four that's really good is Ed Oliver. And then Milano's good, but I think you can pick on him in pass coverage. Same to some degree with Tremaine Edmonds. Tre'Davious White's a true number one corner, but the injury to Hamlin has hurt their secondary a little bit. So I don't know. I mean, I think there's a chance that Cincinnati gets the win tomorrow. How do you see tomorrow's game?
Yeah, I mean, it's a funny one because it's like, okay, in the offseason, the Bills went out and got Von Miller for this game. Basically, like for this game, for the AFC Championship. In hindsight, they probably should have just sat the guy all year because they just needed him in the playoffs. That's when you need a game wrecker like Von Miller. And then likewise, the Bengals went out and got this offensive line. And now it's like, all right, now they're matching up. I guess you can kind of rationalize it. Look, this team doesn't have Von Miller. This team lost all its offensive line. So maybe that's a wash. And neither of them looked necessarily that great last week. I don't know. It is kind of funny how all year I was hearing a lot of like very smart, or I perceive as smart, like betting people being like, you know what, smart bet right now, bet the, AFC, because they would have those bets out there, like future bets, like AFC, -2.5 right now versus the NFC, just whatever team it's going to be, because they assumed it was going to be the Chiefs or the Bills or, the Bengals when they were surging versus, kind of a meh team in the NFC. And it's kind of, now all of a sudden the Eagles look like a freaking wagon. And we'll get to that game. I think the Niners are going to go out there and look like a wagon tomorrow. So now you got the Chiefs limping and the Bengals limping and the Bills. Josh Allen has more turnovers than any quarterback in the league this year. It's just it is kind of crazy the way it's shaping up.
Yeah. I'm not going to touch that game tomorrow wager wise. I just can't handicap that one at all. All right, let's get to Eagles Giants, because the Giants looked really good the week before. And my hot take of the week was that the Giants were going to go into Philly and beat the Eagles. And you know what? That was a terrible take. I'll own that one. Daniel Jones tonight. He couldn't even keep his feet. He couldn't even stay on his feet. Last week, he's running up and down the field looking like a borderline running back. Tonight,
he looked like Josh Allen.
Tonight he looked like he couldn't keep his feet for 2 steps without falling down. Tripped on his lineman, for a sack. He was sacked 5 times. He was 15 of 27, 135 yards and a pick. Bradbury jumped one of his routes. I really thought that Isaiah Hodgins would step up. He was held to 1 catch, 2 targets, 1 catch for 3 yards. Kind of wondering, where was Isaiah Hodgins and all that pitch and catch from last week? And then the Eagles, what can you say? They ran 44 times for 6.1 a carry. Gainwell had 9.3 a carry on 12 carries. Miles Sanders ran for 90 yards, 5.3 a carry. Hurts himself ran 9 times. If one of them was a touchdown. They used Boston Scott for 6 runs. He also scored a touchdown.
By the way, got another Another touch. I wanted to bet the Boston Scott to score a touchdown because he's like notoriously the Giants killer. Like he scored a touchdown in every game versus the Giants in his career. And I wanted to bet it yesterday, and the props weren't up yet. Then the girlfriends here all day today were taking a walk, and all of a sudden it's like, crap, game started. And then, of course, I feel like Nick Sirianni, I got to say, Dayball, I love Dayball. The guy got a lot of praise last week. I was hearing best rookie coach ever, best coach is he the best coach in the league right now? Who do you want rather than Dayball? And the whole sort of vibe he has where he kind of looks like a mechanic or like he could be like one of the guys in the tailgate before the game. It's not, it went from being like super cool to not as cool when they're down. Like now it's kind of funny when he's like, they're down like 27-0 and it's like day ball. But in Sirianni, he's got that total Philly FU to him. And I really believe he's just like, you know what, we're going to dominate this team so much. Like, I don't even care. Boston Scott, just for the hilarity of you being the Giants killer, we're going to get you a touchdown today. Like, that was the edge I felt from Sirianni today. That guy can coach.
Well, there's no question they have a ton of talent. I mean, Howie Roseman's done a great job on that
great
team.
They're
loaded.
Like
Bradbury's a difference maker, and he's a big corner who knows how to play. He's really smart, and he's very athletic, and he's having a career year. And he's got a bunch of picks, and he jumped a route. He had a pick in this game. He looks great. They brought in Linval Joseph in the middle of the year to plug the middle of their defensive line. Heck, even in a limited role, he looks great. Then you look at a sack tonight for Brandon Graham, 1.5 for Josh Sweat, 1 sack for Fletcher Cox, 1.5 for Hassan Reddick. I mean, the Eagles had on the night 5 sacks and 8 hits on the quarterback. So 3 came from Hassan Reddick, 2 from Josh Sweat, who had an injury at the end of the year. Obviously, he's gotten healthy now that they've had some time off. I mean, Philly's got a couple of really scary things. One, Hurts is going to give if the Niners can get to that game, and we don't want to overlook Dallas at all. But if the Niners can get to next week, man, Jalen Hurts gives you that same problem that Mariota did in the Falcons game. All the mesh point, holding the ball at the mesh point, all the pressure. Who's got it? Does Hurts have it? Does Sanders have it? Who's got the football? So like first you got to figure out who's got the ball. So that's one. Then, the Eagles have multiple runners who are pretty good. And then they have a great line. Kelsey's going to Canton probably. He was fantastic tonight. Lane Johnson at right tackle is really, really good. They've got a really good offensive line. They got a really good defensive line. I mean, Philly's just loaded. Philly's got Devontae Smith, the Heisman Trophy winner. He had a touchdown tonight. They got Dallas Goedert. He's healthy. He caught 5 balls on 5 targets. And they got A.J. Brown, who's a true number 1 receiver. So, they got 3 really, really good receivers. They run it great. Their quarterback's mobile. They got a terrific line. I mean, you know what I mean? And damn the Saints for trading the safety C.J. Gardner-Johnson to the Eagles. I mean, what the hell was that? Way to go, and Saints.
How about just for the rest of the NFL drafting to not take Jordan Davis? Everyone knew he's like going to be awesome.
Yeah, Jordan Davis played. He hit a couple tackles today. He's a big-bodied guy. I mean, they're loaded up front. I mean, they got a really deep defensive line. Now, I don't think their linebackers are that great. TJ Edwards and Kayvon Wallace and these, I don't know. Their linebackers are just but they got a really good front. They got a really good secondary. And they're really good on both sides of the line of scrimmage. So, I mean, I just thought the Giants were thoroughly outclassed. Giants ran it well, but it was mostly late, and it was gun runs and that kinds of things. Surprise runs. They had 20 carries, 5.9 a carry, but I think that's kind of a misnomer. I think Eagles will be better against the run. If a lot of those numbers were second half padded numbers on the part of the Giants, where the Eagles are playing pass and the Giants are surprising them by running the ball. But the Giants got no pressure. None on Hurts. They sacked him 1 time. They got 0 hits. So you want to know what my biggest concern is? Niners Eagles is that the Niner front going up against the Eagle offensive line doesn't get enough pressure on Hurts, and Devontae Smith and Goddard and Brown just toast the Niners secondary down the field because the 49er defensive front can't harass Hurts. But that's for next week if the 49ers can get there. So I thought Philly looked really sharp. I thought that their coverage is tight, their pass rush is great, their pass protection's great, their quarterback looks healthy. They run the hell out of the football. They've got big time weapons offensively. They got a lot of pass rush, and they've got some really good players in the secondary. So I mean, it's and CJ Gardner Johnson is a difference maker. I mean, he's like hits like a linebacker, covers like a corner, and so that was a great pickup. So Philly's gonna be tough. This just in, Philly is gonna be tough.
And just to pour a little cold water on it, there's no victory laps. I mean, NFL is just so impossible to predict week to week. But I thought that Eagles were going to house them just based on, and I think I said in a weird way, I actually think that that Giants team, they're legit in that they were what they were. They were a little bit of a knuckleball for the playoffs. I think that Giants team would maybe give the Niners, I would be almost a little more concerned about the Niners versus them, just because they are kind of that like stupid team like Atlanta earlier this year that they lost to. But the Eagles have a fundamental, whatever it is, how there's the teams like the Rams with the Niners. The Eagles this year, even though they're in division, the Eagles have some sort of matchup situation versus the Giants where I thought they were going to house them, mostly because I bet them earlier this year in New York, and it was like within a second, like, they were housing the Giants. And then even week 18, I think or week 9, whatever it was, last week of the season, I think it was a little overblown. Philly was in control of that game, and New York just scored a little bit late. So I don't know. I don't really feel any differently about the Eagles. They're still going to be really good. The biggest thing is just that Jalen Hurts is healthy now. Now we know that he can run.
It's going to take quite an effort. I heard Ross Tucker, he was asked in the postgame, right? They said, who do you think the Eagles would rather have, the Cowboys or the Niners? And he said the Cowboys. He said the Eagles would much rather play Dallas than play the Niners. So
I mean, they're the two most loaded rosters. You might say they're the two most loaded rosters in the NFL. Eagles.
Yeah, I think John Lynch deserves the Executive of the Year award, but if it doesn't go to John, it should go to Howie Roseman, because Roseman did an incredible job. And not only did he do an incredible job, don't they have 2 number ones?
Shit,
I believe they have multiple number ones. I think they might have the Niners number 1.
Yeah, where is that number 1? No, wait,
Trey Lance one that went to the Dolphins. Didn't the Dolphins then make some deal?
You know what? I think Denver has that one. I think Denver has that one because I heard them talking about like, if Denver was to get Sean Payton, that would be their compensation. They have the first rounder from the Niners, which is turning out to be not so great this year. So it probably wouldn't be enough for Payton.
Let me double check this, but I'm pretty sure the Eagles have multiple ones. So the Eagles, according to in the 2023 NFL draft, the Bears go 1, Texans 2, Cardinals 3, Colts 4, Seahawks 5. That's the top 5. Raiders pick 7. Eagles have a pick from the Saints, and that's at 10. So Eagles pick 10, and then the Eagles also pick 32. So they have 2 ones.
Damn.
The Eagles pick 10 and they pick 32. Wow.
Was Chris Olave worth it? I don't think so.
Yeah. I mean, the 10th pick in the draft for a team as good as the Eagles. I mean, that Howie Roseman deserves some credit for that. Chico Travel says, with the quarterback controversy with Montana and Young, do you think Joe could have beat the Cowboys in the early 90s? I think Joe could have won 2 or 3 more Super Bowls. I'll say this, and I love Steve Young, but I think Joe would have beaten the Cowboys in the 92 NFC Championship game. I really do. But we'll never get the answer to that. He wasn't healthy much of that year, so on and so forth. But, yeah, I think Joe could have won the 92 game. The 93 game, Dallas was going to win that game. 94 game, Joe would have won as well, but Steve won that game. And Steve was the MVP of the league and was playing at a higher level than Joe at that point. So I think the Niners, you could say, if they hadn't traded Joe, probably would have had one more ring. That would be my. If you said what's your estimate, I'd say one more.
I'll defer to
Seymour
you there.
Ducats, Larry, tell us what happened with you, Gary, and Cambiar. Would you ever guessed Cambiar? Or would you ever guessed Gary on this cast? What happened was just that nothing happened. I mean, they brought in Greg Papa and decided not to pick up Gary's contract, and Gary decided to call it a career, and it sounds like he's sticking with that. And then I was on there with Tolbert and Brooks for a year. They decided to go in a different direction, and then that made me a free agent. And then this year I've hooked up with the Niners covering them, and I'm working part-time for 95.7 The Game, doing the pre-game show for Niners. And whatever happens in the future happens. We shall see. We shall see. But I'm having a lot of fun. I'm having a lot of fun doing this channel. I had a ton of fun working with G, no question. G-Rad was a lot of fun and a lot of energy, and those are some great days for sure. And I'm having a lot of fun now on 95.7 The Game. I'm having a lot of fun, as you guys can tell, doing this channel and everything that goes with it. So I'll say this. I've never had more fun covering anything than I've had this year covering the 49ers and bringing you guys all the video interviews and being in the locker room, getting a chance to talk to the players, learn their stories, bring their stories to light. Kind of, we're going to play a few of them later tonight. You can kind of see why. I mean, we're getting the kind of content in the locker room that I don't think other people are getting. And I don't want to toot our own horn. Look at us. But I've never seen guys kind of talking openly. I kind of thought it was impossible, to be honest. That, in that environment, in the locker room with all the noise and everything that's going on, and that you could actually get really good content out of the players in that setting. But, and I had my doubts when we first started what kind of content we could get. But you know what, as Ryan and I have gone down there 2-3 days a week, and then of course game days all year and all throughout training camp, we've gotten to know a lot of the players. And now it's, we're on a first name basis with, I would say, 75% of the locker room. And I don't know about you, Rye, but to me, I just think some of the content that we're pulling out of the locker room, not just this week, really the last, let's say, month, as we've the players know us, we know them, we know what their limits are. They know what we're looking for and that we're not out to get anybody. And there's like a trust, and we've gotten some incredible stuff. Greenlaw this week, Amenahue this week, Ray McLeod this week, Kevin Givens, Robbie Gold from last week, several of the things that I mean, and Ryan knows, you talk to the players as much as I do. It's really cool to get their stories out there and to do these video interviews. And I think people are loving the format. They're seeing these guys face to face. They're hearing them in their own words. The best comment I think I got from anybody, Rye, was somebody on one of the YouTube videos posted and said, I think it was Ray McLeod. And he's like, I love Ray. I love him to the point now where I want to go buy me a Ray McLeod jersey. And I thought to myself, I'm like, that's it. That's exactly what I want to accomplish. Having you guys do these interviews. I want you to, invest a little into these players and get to know them a little bit. And then maybe to the point where you like them so much that you actually want to buy their jersey. When I read that comment, I was like, yeah, perfect. That's exactly what I'm looking for. So, thanks to you, thanks to the players, and thanks to the 49ers and Talk Sport and all the people who have had a hand, Caleb Homeris, and all the people with the 49ers who have had a hand in putting us in the locker room and giving us that access. And I hope they're excited with what we've done with it so far.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was picking my girlfriend up from the airport yesterday, and I was like, I don't really go back and rewatch any of the interviews we've done. It's all just such a blur. But now that we're kind of getting up to it, and it's like, you never know, this could be the last week. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go rewatch the the first Brock Purdy interview we did week one. And it was just like, I don't know.
Me going, dude, Brock, I'm a huge fan, man. I'm a huge fan.
Yeah, exactly. No, and like just asking the dumbest questions to Brock and him being cool and, you know, just a total dude. Yeah, it's just trippy. And then this week was kind of funny because, like, you know, they're sort of separating, or like, you know, layers now it's like they need as much content as possible. So it's like, all right, Larry, you're over here, Rye, you're over here. So like this week I was going around like they wanted me to like ask like little stupid Super Bowl questions about like Rihanna.
Repeat the questions that you were supposed to ask this week and tell us how many of the players knew the answer.
Well, the first one was favorite Super Bowl halftime show. No one can recall anyone.
I can't recall any of them.
No, they all blend together. And then
nobody players
Rihanna
don't
song.
care about the halftime show.
No. And then favorite Rihanna song. And it's like everyone generally likes Rihanna. I feel like just goes for just most of humanity. Right. It's like, yeah, I'm pro Rihanna, you know. I can hear her songs and I know it's Rihanna.
Right.
Like nobody could recall a song off the top of their head. So it's like, oh, what's your favorite Rihanna song? And I'm like, oh, maybe you look something up on your phone sort of situation. But like it was just me going around asking, and everyone's just like,
could any player name any Rihanna song?
Yeah, actually, you know, I don't mind, just because it's YouTube. I don't mind playing. So, I don't want to get anyone in trouble, but you know, like Drake Jackson, when I asked him, like he was trying to think about like his favorite Super Bowl halftime show, and then Dominic Lenore was just like, "These nuts," just in the background, just totally ruined the clip. And then like Tay Martin, and I was trying to do like a combo because Tay Martin and Tarvarius Moore seemed like they were down. And then they both said their most memorable was the Janet Jackson nip slip. Just like,
of course.
And then
the only one anybody could remember at all.
Exactly. And like Juwan Jennings is like, oh, make sure to like, you know, tag Rihanna, and like he's like trying to slide in Rihanna's. It's pretty actually.
Oh, you haven't? Go ahead, play it. Do you have one?
I'll play it.
Yeah. Play it.
Favorite Super Bowl halftime show?
No doubt. I'm gonna go with Purple Rain. Purple Rain, my dog. He definitely did his thing. And then I like Rihanna. I heard Rihanna's coming up.
All right. Hey, on that subject, favorite Rihanna song?
I like Rihanna a lot, but my favorite song would be Wild Thoughts by Rihanna. Yeah, she did her thing for sure. Shout out Rihanna for sure.
All right, I'm sending this right to her. All right.
Do it.
So, my favorite Rihanna song is probably gonna have to be the Love Song that goes. I ain't gonna sing it for y'all, but y'all know what it is. And then my favorite halftime Super Bowl show probably gonna be the most recent one with the LA theme.
All right, yeah. All right, thanks, Jay.
Yes, sir.
All right, fellas. Favorite Rihanna song?
Favorite Rihanna song would have to be "Work" featuring Drake.
Work. What about you, Tay?
I have to agree with Vibe. You know what I mean?
Okay.
That Drake. You know what I mean?
And do you guys have a favorite Super Bowl halftime show?
Favorite Super Bowl halftime show? Nah, I wouldn't say I have a favorite. I have a memorable one. I mean, Janet Jackson. Everybody remember that one.
What about you, Tay?
I mean, I don't have a memorable one, but like you said, I probably remember that instance too.
Yeah, or like the year when it like blacked out at halftime.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was what, 2012?
Yeah,
I remember that one for sure.
All right. Thanks, guys. All right, we're here in the Niners locker room with Aaron Banks. All right, a couple questions for you, Aaron. All right, favorite Super Bowl halftime memory?
I like the only one. I can only remember a couple. I can remember the Bruno Mars one, or was that the Weeknd? And then Beyonce. I can remember Beyonce.
All right, sweet. And then what about favorite Rihanna song? You know, she's performing this year.
I like I remember the Love Eat song with Future, and then the James joint. The James joint's a good song too.
All right, sweet. All right, thanks, Aaron.
For sure.
That's my favorite Rihanna song. My wife's favorite Rihanna song is what is that? The Work. Is that work?
Yeah, work,
That's a
work, work,
that's a
work.
Rihanna song, right?
Yeah.
That's my kid's favorite song. Work. Yeah, they
That's
like that
catchy.
song. And then probably the best Super Bowl halftime was the one with Bruno Mars and Beyonce. I thought that was a really good halftime performance.
All right, thanks, Willie.
No problem.
Appreciate it.
The great
That's
Willie
a good
Snead
song.
there
I'm sorry.
at the end. Seymour says, would you ever have Gary on the live stream? Yes, I absolutely would. I would love to have Gary on the live stream, but we haven't hooked up with Gary in a while. So next time I see him, I'm going to invite him on the live stream. Paul
Super
Perriman
Bowl,
throwing
maybe.
that one out. Brad S. Larry, you're the man, dude. All right. Wesley says, here's a donation. Since Purdy's been starting for the Niners, the average win is 34-18. I think they win tomorrow 38-28. Do you think Dak and the Cowboys prep them for the Eagles next week? I'll say 31-21 Niners. But the one concern I guess I have is Dak running. If the Niners play quarters coverage or man, I could see Dak's been running more recently. The Niners gave up some rush yards to Stidham in that Vegas game. They gave up some rush yards last week to Geno. To me, that's the wild card is Dak Prescott running for first downs and breaking the Niner defense down and keeping them on the field. So there you go. MF throws I miss Gary. We've got this one from Brad S. Love everything you're doing, and I like the way you cover this team, and I respect your opinion. Oh, Brad, I appreciate that, man. We got this one from Paul. If you listen to FP's Sabian interview compared to Willard and Dibbs, FP is horrible at what he does. And that isn't even talking about the other shows. Paul Perriman's not a big KMBR guy. We got this one, Trock Talks. KMBR is hard to listen to over the past few years. Way too political. All right, I don't want to get into this too much. Larry, have you got to have Tim Ryan on? For MF, I put a word out to Tim Ryan, but Tim Ryan does a lot of hunting and fishing and is sometimes off the grid during the week. So, I sent that to him. I didn't hear back from him, but I'll check in with him Sunday at the game. The Niners win this week. I promise you, I will get Tim Ryan on the show before their game against Philly next week. Carlo P, Gary and Larry, best radio show ever. Thank you. Appreciate that. Got another guy. Okay, I don't want to see ripping of people I like. Armando, yes, sir. Missed those commutes with the old KMBR crews, but glad you're doing your own thing, Larry. Keep it up. There you go. We are enjoying doing this. I mean, there's no question. I've all those years doing the pregame show, I don't think I spent any time at all in the locker room because we're always doing radio shows. Now we're actually getting a chance to go in the locker room, meet the players, bring some of their stories to life. And it's really been cool. And I think there's a whole international audience that really is enjoying what we're giving. Christy says the interviews are great, Larry. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank Rye. Rye's one of the guys who films these things and puts them together. And, we go in there every week. The thing about it is we never have anything planned. So like, if it seems kind of like, hey, it seems like you guys are just kind of winging it. We are just kind of winging it. I mean, if we knew the day before that we were going to be interviewing player X, I would, me, I'd have all kinds of angles going, but instead you just see a guy at his locker. You walk up to him. Hey, you got time to talk for a couple minutes? Yeah. And then you just got to go off the noggin, go off the top of your head. And sometimes I hit it and sometimes I don't. MF's Charvarius Ward interview was awesome. He was awesome. How great was that? He just wanted to talk receivers that day. And I just kept throwing receivers out there. And he just kept giving me scouting reports. And I looked up and I'm like, man, we've done like 9 minutes on like Devontae and Jefferson and Chase. And I mean, if the Niners win this, one of the videos that we'll put out early, or maybe Monday, is Charvarius talking about Devontae and AJ Brown, right? Because he kind of broke them down too. So we'll release that early Monday if the Niners get the win. Bless you. Wood Pit 420. You seem really happy in this format, Larry. I really am. I seriously am, because the cool thing about this, and by the way, we're gonna put Rye's gonna put a thing in the chat right now. The other day we started doing video calls, and I really enjoyed it. Now I know it's a little hit and miss, and you get some people who aren't that great, and I get it. We'll try to move the people that struggle a little bit in and out quicker. But man, I really loved taking phone calls when I was on the radio regularly, and I really love taking video calls or audio calls now. So if you want to give us a call right now and tell us what you think is the key factor in Niners Cowboys tomorrow, feel free. And Rye, you can put that in the chat. You can put our number in the chat. Seymour Ducats. You carried Gary and Larry, but I'm interested in the background of what came to be. You know what? Gary was finishing up at that point. So if I was carrying him, it was just because he had been carrying the station forever and ever and ever. I didn't carry him at all, man. If anything, he carried me. Seymour Ducats. God bless and carry on my wayward son, Larry. Here we go. Mark Graves, the Alfredo Gutierrez and Nick Zakel interview. The combo interview was great. I don't know if you ever saw that one, right? Because you didn't film that one, but that was, those two guys, I threw it out that I said that Brock said that, I asked Brock if he comes home and he's got food that he bought at the store and he walks into the house and it's been eaten, who's more likely to have eaten it, Nick Zakel or Alfredo Gutierrez? And he said Alfredo. So then I threw it to the guys and I'm like, guys, Brock said that if he ever bought food and it was more likely to be eaten by one of you, who do you think he said? And Nick looks at the camera and he goes, Alfredo. And I'm like, Alfredo. Alfredo's like, damn. But yeah, that was fun. That was a fun interview. Van the Man says Ray confident as F 100. Seriously. I think if there's one guy that I really love talking to, it's Ray, and we'll play that interview coming up in a few minutes from this week. Ray's just real, and he's just a really cool guy to talk to for sure. All right, we have got a couple callers here. We'll go to the first one first. Yeah. Terradome.
By the way, pyramid of success. Gotta love it.
Terradome, how are you? I like that hat, man. I love that Niner hat. I like your lid, man. I like that lid.
Thank you so much. Residency. I'm often on with Wayne Breezy, and
nice.
You mentioned his name. You get a good seat at the club.
I was in the locker room the other day, and I was talking to Mike McGlinchey, and Mike McGlinchey is wearing the exact hat that you have, but it was white with the SF black. And it was tight, man. It was tight. It was. Now he said he turned it around and it was like one of those kind of stretch fit hats. Is yours like that? Is it a stretch fit?
I got the snapback on this one, but they do have some fitteds. They have some truckers. They just marvelous job, man.
Yeah, it's a good looking lid, man.
Yeah, San Francisco. It is.
So you're a Niner content creator yourself?
No, I'm often on everybody's show as a guest.
Oh, you're a guest.
Yeah, I just be shutting it down, doing what I do.
Cool.
I'm an ordained elder, and I pray for the Niners, and everything I speak about has to have a godly theme because that's all that's in.
That's your focus.
Where
are you from? Are you a Bay guy? Are you from outside the Bay?
Richmond, Virginia, but I reside down here in Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Been there. Been to Fayetteville.
Yeah. Fort Bragg. We call it Fort Jump Boots. Special operations. 82nd Airborne. I'm a cavalryman.
There you go.
And
so my dad was a JAG Corps attorney.
All right.
So I've got that USAA insurance. And I always laugh at the Gronk commercials when Gronk's trying to get USAA.
You gotta
they're like, no, USAA. Man, you're not getting those USAA, Gronk.
You gotta get grandfathered in, baby.
Yeah, you gotta have
somebody in there.
Yeah, exactly. It's always my dad used to say to me, "It's like, man, I don't know if I'm giving you much, but I'll give you that USAA insurance." And he's right.
Gave you gold.
So what's your pick? What's your pick tomorrow? Who? Obviously, you're going Niners. I see the chain in the background. I see the Flash 80. You're going Niners, right?
Rotating helmet.
Always Niners, man. We're just coming in like a quiet storm. I see 29-14. I'm gonna be a little conservative. I know some of us are saying 30 and 40, but
right.
A good cobra strikes enough so that the venom can either knock down an elephant or a mongoose. So I don't want to use all of our venom. A mature venom just strikes enough just to, keep those points for next week and 2 weeks after that, which would be my birthday weekend in Glendale, Arizona.
I like what you're
Ooh,
saying
great.
there.
I'm
Yeah.
planning on that.
Is the implication that Philly maybe used up a little bit too much of the venom today?
My daddy used to say, "Hey, you better save some of them points. You're gonna need them points."
You know, you bring up the cobra and the mongoose. I remember that cartoon Ricky Tikki Tavi, where it was the cobra. It was the mongoose fighting the cobra. It was a great childhood.
Oh, yeah,
you gotta. I'm probably a little older. You probably don't remember Ricky Tikki Tavi.
I'm 52 years old.
Okay, well, we're the same age then.
Yeah,
There you go.
yeah, man. Yeah.
So
and you
okay,
do a
so
great job. Let me just shout you out, man.
Yeah.
Let me give you your flowers. Bruh, I see you giving the interviews, man. They just love Krueg, man, because you just come at them with such a respect. You come at them with just such a fervor and a knowledge of the game and the intimacies of the game. I see how they interact with you, man. You ask the questions that I would ask if I were there. And that's all you can even dream of as a content creator, as a journalist, a true journalist. And we appreciate you, man. We're crazy about it. I don't miss a show. I don't miss.
Thank you, man. Dude, I mean, seriously, that means so much to me. You know, one of the things that I've discovered in doing this, and I've mentioned this to Rise, we drive home from Santa Clara sometimes, is that some of the best freaking interviews we do, we'll just walk up to a guy and be like, "Hey, man, where are you from?" Like when you walk up to somebody and you just say, "Hey, man, where are you from?" and it starts from there, you'd be surprised like how like organic the whole dialogue is, as opposed to this is how you don't start an interview.
Say it.
On the 22nd of December, you said nobody wants, you know what I mean? Nobody wants to have their statements thrown back in their face from like, you know what I mean? Or like 2 weeks ago, you know, anything that's like kind of like accusatory, they put up this wall. So I think we just sit there and go up to them and be like, "Hey, man, where are you from? You tell us a little bit." And as soon as they say where they're from, "Hey, where you a fan? You grow up a fan of this team, that team?" Then they start telling you about their family and their friends and you know what's important to them. And so, yeah, man, I thank you very much for that compliment. And I'll say it's a labor of love, and I hope it comes across that way. I'm loving doing this, and if I could do this exclusively going forward, man, I think I would, because I really do love talking to the players and bringing the fans like face to face with these guys.
Yes.
And it's like, we only really get Jimmy, Trey, Brock, Debo, Kittle, McCaffrey, Bosa.
Yeah.
Everybody else on this team just basically is totally anonymous. And if you walk around the room, Azeez Al-Shaair is a freaking awesome interview. Dre Greenlaw is an incredible interview. Drake Jackson is a phenomenal interview. Fonga.
Even Drake's dad. Yeah, he's awesome.
George Odom.
Fonga.
I mean, there's all kinds of dudes. Charles Omenihu. I mean, there's all kinds of good talkers in that room. So it's just cool that they're all there and we got access to them. And hopefully we're bringing that. Hopefully we've got 3 more weeks right to the bowl, right? To bring you guys killer stuff, because Ryan and I plan to right to Super Bowl Sunday if we can.
Awesome. Keep doing your thing. We are crazy about you. We are crazy about the Niner, the faithful, where the truck is loaded, the plane is fueled, and the train is on the track. You can't stop these boys in scarlet, gold, and black. We're coming for what we need to come for. This is a deep team. We have an embarrassment of riches and a plethora of talent, and we're just going to hit them with 1,000 cuts and watch them bleed out.
Oh, man. So I've been calling you Terradome because it says Terradome, but what is that what you go by?
Yes, sir. That's my
Terradome.
That's my moniker. My given name is Hugh Terror. And
Gotcha.
I'm an author as well. I got a book on Amazon called Get This in Your Spirit. I run one of the largest 911 centers in the military universe at Fort Bragg. It's the largest military installation in the United States and probably in the world. And I do emergency services there as well. And I'm just a lover of all things 49ers, man.
Well, talk to us about that rotating helmet that Ryan talked about over your left shoulder. How is that working? What is that? What's that rotating on?
It's like a magnet in there.
I thought you were going to say magic.
I saw a guy with an LSU one. I said, well, I know it's got to be a San Francisco 49er one. Let me get on the internet and do my give me my Google degree. And man, I found it, and everybody likes that.
Oh, dude, that's
Everybody
awesome.
likes
I gotta
that.
find me one of those, man.
Yeah.
I gotta get the rotating Niner helmet. Hey, Terror Dome, let me jump to some other people, but hey, man, I appreciate you jumping in on the video calls. We're gonna do more video calls in the streams ahead, and so join us after the game tomorrow night.
All right, I will.
Yeah,
Well,
and
have
I
a
just
great
gotta
one.
say before you go, this
Go ahead.
reminds me of like when when we're talking to like Brock Purdy, and it's like, Jesus Christ, like Brock Purdy, really, man, you just all you do is study, and then you leave like an hour at the end of the day to like call your family, and then you go to bed, and all you do is game, and it's all about God and football. That's like talking to like, dude, respect, because you just listed like 1,000 things I could never do, and are doing so much better, so much more for the world, you know. And so this is
Bless you.
respect.
Bless you guys, man. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Just keep doing your guys' thing, man. It is wonderful. And we need it because the national media, you know, you look at Fox and it's all about them Dallas Cowboys. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
It's like,
Skip.
really?
Thanks, Skip.
Every day. Thank you guys.
Terror Dome, have a great night, man. Go
God bless
Niners.
y'all. Go Niners. We'll get
Go
them.
Niners. We'll talk to you tomorrow night, hopefully. That's cool. All right, let's go to another one here. Is it Cali Bear 559?
Hi.
Hey, Cali Bear, how are you?
This one's
I
SO
am him.
questions.
What's that? Go ahead, Rye. Hold on a second, Rye. What'd you say?
I'm Andrew Hune from San Diego, California.
So SOT Productions. This is SOT Productions.
Oh, I got you. I thought I was going to Cali Bear, but
we do have Cali Bear in the green room. But what's up, SOT?
Cali Bear, you're next. You're next, Cali Bear. Hold on. But we'll go to SOT Productions. Who are we talking to?
Andrew Hune.
Andrew, how are you?
Very well.
Well, say hi to Ryan. That's Ryan Smith up there.
Hi, Ryan Smith.
Hey. All right. Hype me up. Hype me up about the Niners. What are they going to do tomorrow?
Give us your thought, man.
I think they're going to try and play the rest of the game as ever. And in case you noticed, I saw a Chiefs game today on NBC on Channel 49.1.
What did you see?
Yeah.
A Chiefs
What
game.
was it?
The Chiefs game?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So do you think the Niners are going to have an easier time with the Cowboys than the Chiefs had with the Jaguars?
I think so.
You think so? Good. I mean, I hope so. Hopefully there's no quarterback injuries.
I've been in Lake Mary School for 3 years, and I was just recently discharged out of Lake Mary.
Oh,
Terrific.
nice.
You're a big Niner fan. What's your prediction
I'm
on the
not
score
a
tomorrow?
49ers fan.
You're not a 49er fan.
He's a fan.
Who are you
He's
a
an
fan of?
objective fan. I think he's just a fan of the Shield. He's a
SOT,
fan of the league.
you're a fan of? All right. We had to move on. All right, let's jump to Cali Bear. SOT, thank you though for jumping in.
Thank you so
we
much,
do appreciate
SOT.
that.
Hey, on man, go Niners, right?
There you go, Cali Bear.
yeah.
How are you, man? Who are we talking to?
My name's Adrian, but I go by Cali Bear 559.
Nice. Do you have your own content? You're a content creator or are you just a fan?
I'm a huge Mac Dre fan, and then
Let's go.
California Grove. So
Where are you from? What part of where are you calling us from? What city?
South of
Where?
Fresno.
Burbank?
I'm from Visalia, California.
Oh, Visalia. Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's where
Been
David
there many
Lombardi's
times.
from.
Been to Visalia many times. The longtime minor league home of the Minnesota Twins, the Visalia Oaks.
Yeah,
I believe.
unfortunately, the Minnesota Twins. Too bad the Giants can't pick them up, right?
Is there a sign there that says home of David Lombardi?
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
I went to high school with him, actually.
Did you?
Oh,
Yes.
Oh, that's very cool.
So
what's your thought tomorrow?
I think we're going to win. I think we our running game favors us a lot versus their defense, and then you know how aggressive their pass rushes are. I think that our run's going to neutralize all that. And I think Birdie's going to have a pretty easy game, but it's going to be kind of like that Minnesota Viking game we had in 2019.
Oh, that'd be nice.
So that's what I think.
You're thinking a run-heavy game plan.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the McCaffrey, Mitchell, Depot game.
Man,
I sure hope so.
The one thing that I feel good about is that the 49ers this year are 14-0 when they're even or plus on the turnovers. They're 0-4 when they're not When they're negative on turnovers, they're 0-4. But Prescott has not been taking care of the football. Now, he did in this last game, but he led the league in interceptions, and he only played 11 and a half games. So
I'm gonna pull up his game log real quick, actually.
And they
I
played
think
the
he
Bucs.
turns the ball over a couple times tomorrow.
I mean, I hope so. Shoot. I mean, I hope Kinlaw, not Kinlaw, but Greenlaw, the law, I hope he calls another interception like he did the Brady game, you know?
Which
I
is
would love
just
to
so
see
cool,
that.
by the way. Imagine doing that. Imagine calling that, getting the interception, and then going up to the man you just whooped his butt all day.
Oh,
and you
dude.
call off him, and you're like, "Hey, bro, I know you might be trying to come to the Niners next year, so like, you gotta be cool to me. Are you done to sign this football?"
Man, I was there. It was awesome, man. That atmosphere was great. Man, I remember being at Levi's when it first opened. Man, it's night and day. I swear.
That's a good thing to bring up. I think that Levi's is starting to get a little bit of
home
it's
field.
getting a little bit of soul. We're around the tailgaters. There's a lot of juice in at least in the tailgate. There's a lot of juice. When we're in the press box, it's kind of hard to tell. But I mean, it seems like it's getting some juice. That said, I did see I might have sent this in the group chat, Larry. I can't remember, but there was a stat out there, and it was like NFL stadiums and then their proximity to the downtown center. So like downtown San Francisco, and like Levi's was like, I was kind of shocked to see like Levi's was like by far the farthest. And it was like, seemed like doubly as far as, I'm bad with geography, but it was like doubly as far as the Giants and Jets, which are playing in a different state. Like, what the heck?
With all this rain, it kind of reminds me of Candlestick. Like the muggy weather, it brings back that kind of vibe. So I kind of like it when it rains because it kind of reminds me of Candlestick. I'm old enough. I was there.
Sure. What's your favorite Niner Cowboy memory? I mean, how far do you go back? Do you go back to the catch? No.
Oh man, no. You
probably go back to the 90s though.
I became a Niner fan like in 93. My best friend was a Jerry Rice fan, and that just stuck with him. And I got to see them win that 5th Super Bowl and beat the Cowboys twice in 1 year. That was awesome. And plus, we haven't beat the Cowboys at home in a while, so I'm looking forward to this.
The one thing I'm hoping Niner fans do not sell their tickets to Cowboy fans, because the one thing about Dallas does travel. They do travel well, and they will try to buy up those tickets. They will try to crash this party if Niner fans sell their tickets.
Yeah, Cowboy fans have money.
I hope that won't happen. What's that?
Cowboy fans have money. Well, that's what I've seen.
They're oil money. All that oil money. They want to buy tickets.
All right, Larry, to your point, check this out. So these were just, week 7. Okay, this one doesn't count because, wait, one of these he got injured in. Okay, 0, 1 interception, 2 interceptions, 0, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 1 to finish the season. And then none that opening weekend, wild card weekend. So, I mean, he's due. He's due to turn the ball over. Plus, I mean, they don't count missed field goals as turnovers, but they might as well. And Brett Maher, I just don't know how you can go into the game trusting that guy.
As long as somebody else besides Bosa steps up, I think we'll have this game. I think. Yeah. Bosa's so good, but I think we need somebody else to step up because there's times where they bottle Bosa up and nobody else steps up. But if we get somebody else to really anchor that other side, I think we got this game.
To me, it's about turnovers. Dallas had 14 turnovers as a team in the last 7 games of the regular season. They played a perfect game last week against Tampa. Let's see if they can do it again.
But it's Tampa. They barely even made the playoffs.
Exactly. And Tampa was bad. Tampa's bad this year.
That's the lesson I think that everyone should learn from today is that, Tampa Bay, just believe with your eyes all year. They were not a good team. And, the Cowboys beat them bad, but they're not a very good team. The Giants were overachievers all year. They beat kind of just a poor Vikings team, but then everyone got hyped on them. And then now the Eagles are rolling. So I think I don't know. I don't think the Cowboys are that good. Honestly don't know why the line's 4. It should be like 6 or 7. They're coming off a short week. They have to travel to Levi. They played on Monday. The Niners played on Saturday. Like everything is stacking up for the Niners.
You know
Here's
how
the one thing that I read today that I thought was kind of interesting. It's about the NFC East as a division. Obviously, when did the Niners play anybody this year? I mean, that's the other one. They didn't play the Eagles or the Cowboys or the Lions or the Vikings. The Rams and the Cardinals both had quarterback injuries. They faced the Chargers. Chargers didn't have any of their top receivers. I mean, they didn't face a really a killer competition this year. So you got to wonder about a little bit about that. The other thing I kind of wonder about is I was looking at some of the numbers on the NFC East, and the NFC East had good numbers as far as their numbers against the spread out of the division were really, really good, like the best of any division in pro football. So that's a little bit of a concern, like maybe Dallas, has played a better schedule. Now, neither team has played a very powerful strength of schedule. If you look at it,
that's what I was going to say. Dallas hasn't. The NFC East got a super easy.
Okay, here it is. NFC East. Okay, they went 29-16-1 against the spread against non-division opponents. That was the best mark by far of any division in football. So that's a little bit of a concern.
But they played the NFC North, right? They weren't very strong this year.
Yeah.
A lot of Aaron Rodgers, I think he's losing it. He's more of an interview guy than a quarterback, I think. I mean, I love Aaron Rodgers, but I don't know. I don't think he's happy there. But
so I'm going 31-21. What's your final score?
I'm going 31-17.
31-17. All right. I think that to me, the wild card factor is Prescott running the ball against man coverage or quarters coverage, and converting first downs with his legs. Do you have a wild card factor that you're looking for?
Hufanga needs to play discipline.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Over the top.
That is a good call.
And, just do his job. And if we contain him, I think we have this game. I think we have the talent to beat him. It's just this media, they love Dallas for some reason. It's not the all-American team, or what do you mean? America's team. It's the media's team. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Well, especially the national media. Callie Bear, let us jump, man. But go Niners. Good to see you. Thanks for jumping in.
Hey, keep it up. I love your content.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you. Very cool. Very cool. I love taking the video calls. So we can take some more. We can actually take some more video calls. Couple thoughts here. Luis Fuentes, Larry Kruger with the great content. We got this one from Graham. Interview Mitch Wishnowsky for us Aussies, Krug. Cheers. We've been looking for Mitch, and he was in the locker room a lot earlier in the year, but his locker's over by Bosa and Jalen Moore on the edge of the locker room. Well, if the Niners advance, we'll try to hunt him down. Calba says those interviews are great. We get insight into the human element, what drives the players. There's no gotcha aspect to these. Someone said, did you ask Charvarius about Metcalf, GSU for life? I didn't, but I would like to.
No, I think he did talk about Metcalf in that interview you did, and then unfortunately, Metcalf had a pretty good game the next time. But
yeah, what can you say? Green Glass Full says Larry's show is great. Seymour says love the format. Larry been hooked for several weeks. Get this one. GSU for life. For video calls, please have a dress code. Yeah, please be dressed. Please be dressed.
The Zoom got Jeffrey Tubin.
I enjoy the show. It's the best, even though I have to work at 2 a.m. Oh my goodness. Adrian says I listen to you daily. Someone asked where Danny is. We gave Danny an invite tonight, but Danny didn't show up tonight. G. Martinez, Larry was trying to dig for roommate drama between Zakel, Gutierrez, and Brock. I did. I'm like, do you guys have any issues with each other? Like, no, we get along great. You sure you don't have any issues? John Boyd, not. Gary Larry was a great combo. You carried each other. Thank you. Mr. MF says, Tabor Pepper seems like an interesting guy. He is. I like Tabor Pepper, man. We asked Tabor Pepper if he's in a bar fight, who would be the one guy he would want defending him. And before we could even get the question out, he's like, Javon Kinlaw. We didn't even wait. G Code says, you mentioned Papa. With Papa's past relationship with the Raiders, what was his emotions calling the 49ers beating the Raiders? Plus the Tabor interview, thumbs up. Thank you on the Tabor interview. I don't know what Greg's feeling. I think Greg, had his fill of the Raiders, and obviously once Al was no longer in the picture and he moved over to the Niners, I think he made a clean break. So, I don't think he looks back. But next time I see him, I'll ask him about that because, he had to have a little special feeling there all the years he did the Raiders and then now doing the Niners, right?
Yeah, and I got to say, his call, the touchdown San Fran, touchdown San Francisco. Obviously, that was horrible, but at first it kind of annoyed me. It seemed like too many syllables, trying to emphasize too many syllables. But man, it's really grown on me. I'm loving it, especially when they have it on like NFL Films or something. They play the Papa call, gets me fired up.
MF says, sleeping in my Niners sweatshirt tonight, feeling great. Jimmy Robinson, Larry should be doing the 49ers YouTube channel interviews. I won't read the rest of that.
Yeah.
Somebody saying one of the guys in the chat was amazing. Not sure who he was referring to, but MF says John Lynch seems like a great guy. I think John Lynch pretty much is a great guy. I'll say this, MF, when my father passed, a bunch of people reached out to me, but John, in his radio hit that week on KMBR, before he even started, did a public shout out to me and then doesn't have my cell phone, somehow got a hold of my cell phone and called me and left me a message, just saying how he was sorry that I lost my dad and this and that. And, it's like those kinds of things mean so much more to you than other things like transactions. But John Lynch, I really do believe, if you look at this offseason, he signed George Odom. He signed Ray McLeod for special teams. They bring in a new special team coordinator. He re-signs Debo, re-signs Garoppolo, trades for Christian McCaffrey, drafts Brock Purdy. I also really believe that this is an unbelievably deep draft class. The 3 years from now, you're going to be looking back at all these guys like Tay Martin and Poe and Marcelino. And these guys are all going to be on the team still in 3 years. And then people are going to go, oh, what year did they get them? Oh, they all came in 2022. Really? And TDP and JP Mason and Danny Gray. And, it's like literally.
And then like next year, all of a sudden it's going to be like, oh, where'd Clea Davis come from? Where'd Jason Poe come from? Where'd Nick Zakel come from? Yeah. And then
Clea Davis, right? Yeah. These guys are all going to start someday. I mean, they really are.
And also, I don't know if I might have told this story earlier in the year. I can't remember. I think I felt confident because we didn't have as many subscribers. But my John Lynch story, not quite as emotional, not quite as meaningful. But I think week one, this was my real like, hello, wow, I'm here. Got the media pass the first week. Of course, it's stressful because it's week one. We're trying to get everything set up, doing the pre-games at the stadium and all this. Don't really know where I'm going. The first time I got in to the press area on the 8th floor, and I was like, need to go to the bathroom. I was like, where's the bathroom? I saw there was a bathroom to the left. Little did I know, the press area is to the right after you exit the elevators, and there is a whole press bathroom. Instead, I went to the left because I saw a bathroom. It was a singular bathroom. It was just like, you close it, just one person in there. So, of course, I had to drop a huge number 2. And I was just like, please, God, have no one be outside the door when I'm like, flush, walk out. And it's just John Lynch right there looking me right in the eyes like, what the hell is this guy doing in my bathroom? In the executive bathroom or whatever. So, yes.
Did he say anything to you?
No. Just looked me straight in the eyes and then walked past me.
Kevin Cook became a YouTube member. So, Kevin, thank you very much for being a YouTube member. I do videos in the morning sometimes that kind of give you YouTube members a little bit more insight into what's planned that day on the Krueg Show. We also have a little interaction. MF says, Larry have good interaction with Skip Bayless when he was with the San Jose Mercury News. Yeah, I had really good interaction with Skip Bayless. In fact, I consider Skip a friend, and he was on KMBR quite a bit. But he's now graduated into this deal, and that where he's now on Fox, and him and Sharp are going at each other. I didn't like Skip's seemingly lack of perspective on the Hamlin thing. So I kind of pushed back on his whole tweet. It just seemed like read the room, and he just seems Skip's way smarter than that to put that out there. So sometimes I think that he's now does some of these things for effect and to be the heel and to be the villain and to get all the clicks and all that stuff. I think he really leans into it. So I don't know. He's a little bit kind of a showman. I will say this though. Like if you talk to some guys like the way they are is the way they are, and there is no act. Skip's whole thing is an act. So like if you talk to him in the press box, he's not bombastic and telling you his opinions. He's really down to earth and asking you about your wife and kids, and he's a regular guy. But when he's performing on mic, on camera, he gives a performance. So that's all I would say is that I don't think you really know the real Skip. I think Skip's really a pretty down to earth, easygoing guy, but he flips it into this mode of polarizing media figure for Fox, and he's taken it to the bank. So, but yeah, I don't think Skip is a bad guy at all, but I thought the Hamlin tweet was just tone deaf, and I had to say something about it, and I did.
I only know the character of Skip Bayless. Grew up, a huge part of my childhood is watching First Take, and I know all about Ernestine and about how they sleep in separate beds. I've just watched way too much First Take in my time. I was thinking, this is a little bit off topic, but like, for example, maybe if the Cowboys went to the Super Bowl or something, how much money would they make in a pay-per-view if it was just pay-per-view Skip Bayless and Stephen A, the return to First Take of old, just them battling it out one more time on different networks. I have a little bit of a fan fiction hope that comes to be someday, or at least that they return, because man, I feel like they kind of, I don't know, they were perfect. They were chocolate and peanut butter, those guys.
Some people have mentioned they're getting a little bit of a buzz.
Yeah.
Are you getting a little bit of a buzz?
Oh,
I don't.
You know what it was? Okay, and for the future,
Was it from our callers?
Yeah, we didn't prep anyone, but just next time, if you're a video caller, we'd really appreciate it if you just wore headphones, and then because what's happening is people are listening to the show and then also talking, so you can hear the show reverberating or whatever.
We've got this one. Super chat, glass half full guy. Do you guys think 49ers have a big advantage on the D-line versus the Cowboys O-line? It seems like it to me. The 49ers are deep and talented on the D-line. And, Tyler Smith, though, the rookie left tackle from Tulsa, is really good. And the Cowboys have a big physical offensive line. But I think the Niners can really bother that line with the games and the stunts that they play up front. And I think they can really hurt Dallas with a lot of that movement. So yeah, I think it's advantage Niners. But also Dallas has got a big physical line, and Zach Martin is a future Hall of Famer at right guard. So I'm a little concerned about, Pollard. I think Pollard is better this year than last year, but I think the Niners can stop Dallas's run. My question for the Niners on defense is, what if Dallas comes out throwing it down the field and has success against the Niners, 22nd ranked pass D? Then what happens? You know what I mean? Then does Dallas start to run the ball and have a little success off of the run? That would be my concern, is that if they somehow, get up top a little bit and make some plays up top, then they start to run it a little bit. Can they have more success running it if they loosen the 49ers up as far as, passing the ball down the field? The Niners have an advantage when the Niners are running the ball at Dallas's run D. I think Dallas may have an advantage if they're trying to pass the ball against the Niner pass D. So it really comes down to, can the 49er defensive front, cause a little make it so there's a little pressure on Dak. So force him off his spot, force him off his rhythm. I mean, he's coming off of one of the best games of his career. He was great last week against Tampa. If he plays that well again, it's going to be tough to win this game. But odds are he won't, because he hasn't played that well this year.
I mean, yeah, see Daniel Jones. Usually.
And also, the travel? What about the travel, right? I mean, have they been Dallas been on the road? They were in Tampa. They fly back to Dallas. Now they got to fly from Dallas to San Francisco. They've been on the road. This is 4 straight weeks. Niners have been basically in the Pacific time zone or at home for like 2 months.
Seriously. Like, it actually is kind of an unprecedented advantage that the Niners have had down the home stretch, where everything's been at home, or they had, fly over to Mexico City for a road game. I mean, that's, basically was a home game for them. And yeah, they basically have been on the West Coast the entire second back half of the schedule. And Dallas, I don't understand why people, are not thinking about this more. Dallas has played legitimate, tough games on the road now, 4 out of the last 5 weeks or something like that. And the Niners played Saturday. Dallas played Monday. It doesn't make sense. Dallas has to travel. It just doesn't make sense that hasn't been factored into the line more. It should be, maybe going through the 3, it's just tough, but.
It's funny. I asked Menahue about this, and I'm like, well, the Niners, played, as I said, Saturday. Dallas played Monday. And then the Niners, as soon as Minnesota lost, they probably could have started their Cowboy prep, because they had already done their Tampa prep. They just played Tampa 4 weeks ago, whatever it was. So in a lot of ways, the Niners had 2 extra days of prep. And then I asked Menahue about it, and he's like, yeah, I hear that. But you know what? When you're out there on the field on Sunday, you're not going to be thinking, man, we've got a huge advantage because we had 2 extra days. So that he's giving us the player perspective. The coaching perspective is damn right. You want that extra time.
Menahue, though, I feel like he is just he's kind of just such an adult. He just looks at it just so matter of fact. He's just like, that doesn't affect. I remember earlier in the year, I asked him about the little saying that was whatever the Niners saying was in the locker room for the year, whatever. And he was just like, I don't pay attention. I have no idea what it is, but I feel like other guys are more, he's just such an adult. So I don't.
Yeah. G-Code Travels Vlog POV. Has someone questioned Kyle Shanahan's short kickoff decision? He questioned it. He said he blew it by squibbing. I mean, obviously Jimmy Ward ruined it by going, helmet to helmet or whatever it was on Geno. But I just think Jimmy Ward was like, you know what? I'll trade a big hit. I think Jimmy Ward in his mind thought to himself, you know what? I'm willing to trade a big hit on the quarterback in the first half for a penalty. But he picked the wrong time to do it, and it cost the Niners points. And so it was painful. But if it hadn't cost the Niners points, I would have said, way to go, Jimmy, because Jimmy understands that. I mean, he told us earlier this year, if you hit a guy in his ribs, if you hit a guy in his patella, he ain't going to be the same. So Jimmy's thinking deal out some pain. I love that about Jimmy.
Oh, absolutely. I thought the same exact thing. It happened oh, this is not good considering the current climate. And I'm not obviously no one's going to come out and say this, but he let us know early in the year, even when the idea of running quarterbacks came up, it's if he has a free shot, he's going to always take it.
Okay, so let's do this. Let's play an interview or two, and then we'll bolt for the door. I want to get a good night's sleep because we got a big day tomorrow. We got still a lot of people in the chat, obviously. We got this one from Mr. Josiah. I said, "Let's go Niners, baby." But Rye, let's play one of our interviews or 2 of our interviews from inside the locker room, and then we'll take a break, play some commercials, have some final thoughts, and then come back and wrap it up on the Krueg show. But who are we going to go with here?
Well, if you don't mind, actually, I think we roll commercials right now, and I'm getting all of the interviews ready to rock.
Okay.
And then
We'll do that.
come back.
We'll get a word from our sponsors, and we'll come back with a couple of our locker room interviews from the week. All that straight ahead on the Krueg Show.
Larry Kruger here for Telmetrics. Thanks to Casey Bateman and the good people at Telmetrics. If you're an occupational therapist, if you're an orthopedic surgeon, a chiropractor, a physical therapist of any kind, Telmetrics is designed for you to use in your practice and will greatly benefit your patients. Telmetrics uses computer vision and artificial intelligence and provides a platform for outpatient rehab therapy services, both in the clinical and the telehealth environments. So using Telmetrics can improve your patient's experience and much more. So for all your sports injury needs, or if you're a physical rehabilitation specialist of any kind, call and make sure you use telmetrics.co, TELMETRIX.co. And thanks to Casey Bateman and all the good people at Telmetrics for being a proud sponsor of the Krueg. I'd like to thank our sponsor, Dan Coach Emilio. Dan is a buddy, and he is a phenomenal retirement planning specialist. And you can contact him today at securemoney.com, or it is number 925-628-9966. There's a lot of uncertainty in our world right now, and you want to make sure that your money is secure. That is the key. Danny's got 25 years of experience, born and raised right here in the Bay Area, and he can help you get an immediate 10% premium bonus on your principal retirement account. So give him a call, 925-628-9966. He'll make an appointment with you, and you can sit down. It's not a one-size-fits-all kind of a deal. He'll consult with you and come up with a strategy to get you going to where you want to be. Once again, 925-628-9966, securemoney.com on the web. And thanks to Tony Casera and the good people at Casera's Italian Menswear. They are housing the Krueg Show t-shirts, and they're a proud sponsor of the show as well. The Krueg Show t-shirt, the Krueg Show podcast t-shirt is available there at their store in Dublin. Their address is 7372 San Ramon Road in Dublin, California. And go see Tony Casera and get yourself a Krueg Show t-shirt and support the show. And special thanks to our sponsor, New York Style Italian Sausage. That's right, NewYorkStyleSausage.com is their website. Phenomenal product, whether it's the breakfast sausage, the Italian mild, the Italian spicy, the chorizo. You cannot go wrong with New York Style Italian Sausage. Once again, NewYorkStyleSausage.com. Often imitated, never equaled.
We grew up with a Sunday dinner. That means no matter how busy you were, no matter where the hell you were, you came to dinner on a Sunday night. Yeah, Sunday dinner without sausage, it's like a church without God. You know, how can you go to church if you don't believe in God? You know, and along with the sausage also became the discussions. That was discussion night. You know, it wasn't a typical family that you sit there and you're quiet, you know, and you don't talk with a mouthful. Oh no, man. Italians talk when they're eating. Italians even talk when they're sleeping. And definitely we talk with our hands. So if we can't express it through our mouth, through our lips, we express it with our hands. So, and that's what sausage is, really. It's an expression, you know, that life is good.
Hey, Pasquale. Hey, Pasquale. Dan Coach Emilio here for the Krueg Show. Just picked up for the very first time some of your New York style Italian sausage here at Sam's Club in Arizona. My wife just cooked it, and I'm about to take a bite. Man, this is good. Pasquale, when you winked and said you guaranteed we love it, you're right. This stuff is absolutely amazing. Best sausage I've ever tasted. Thank you, Pasquale.
So New York Style Sausage was started over 7 years ago. We are the largest producer of fresh Italian sausage on the West Coast.
What makes our sausage in New York style is really the recipe came from back east, from New York, from Connecticut.
If you look at all of our labels, there's maximum 4 or 5 ingredients, which we're really proud of.
There's no preservatives, no MSG, fresh in, fresh out.
The pork comes in fresh, goes out fresh. There's never any freezing throughout the process. We've always used fine quality cuts. We're never gonna deter from that. It's one of the reasons why our sausage is so good. I guarantee you put our sausage up against anybody else's from a flavor standpoint, no one will beat it, hands down.
Hey, do yourself a favor and do me a favor. Go buy a package of the New York style Italian sausage. Guaranteed you will love it. Guaranteed.
All right, coming down the home stretch on the Krueg Show. MF says Levi's will be lit tomorrow. George Costanza says New York is in Connecticut.
Yeah. I was talking about. I bring that up so much now, like even in relation to okay, it kind of makes sense because even in relation to what I was talking about like Santa Clara being so far away from San Francisco, all the East Coast states are so close that it might as well be New York.
Oh man, that is so funny. All right, we have over 400 people still in the chat. We have 11,601 total subscribers. If you're in the chat and you've yet to hit like and subscribe, please hit like and subscribe. If you hit like, that helps the algorithm. It helps more people find the live stream and the show and the channel. And if you hit subscribe, that will it's all free, of course. It just means every time we go live, you'll get a little alert on your phone saying, hey, check out Krueg. He's doing the Krueg Show with Ryan and Dan and so on and so forth. So we have 11,601 subscribers. We just got to 10,000 about 10 days ago, 2 weeks ago. So we've picked up 2,600 plus subscribers in the last 4 weeks alone. And the channel is jamming. So please subscribe. Please hit like and subscribe. And also, if you want to be a channel member, we give videos to the channel members and tell you what we're doing with the channel each and every day. So please do that, and that would be great. Calba says, great show again, Larry. If we've learned anything, it's that you have powers. Please speak this victory with the spread into existence. Go Niners. GSU for Life 1 said, I just subscribed.
We do have to talk real quick about the powers because it is a little too crazy. We started the Krueg Show and it was right before the Warriors playoff run. Then the most awesome playoff run. Steph finally does it. Finals MVP. It's so sick. Then, the Giants season was objectively hilarious. It provided for a lot of content. And, it was a good, we all needed to sort of relax after the Warriors run. And then Niners, the fact that the whole Purdy thing and just what happens if Purdy just, comes in and just starts winning games and then just what the hell? I have to check myself. What the hell? How did it get to this?
It's amazing.
Brock Purdy. What
Brock
the hell?
Purdy. We stumbled into the biggest story in American sports.
Okay,
Purdy.
Think about this also. And I think 49er fans out there just as a whole will relate to this. So we were originally, we got hired by Gridiron and, we were supposed to go and everything was about Trey. The whole magazine cover was about Trey and the questions about Trey and all this stuff. And then it's oh, dang it. All right. Well, Trey's injured. Okay. Well, Jimmy, you know what? They're kind of getting it going with Jimmy. You know what? All right. Okay. This is kind of like last year's team, whatever. They have as good a chance as any. It almost feels like, and then all of a sudden Brock Purdy. And this is the best story. You could not have wrote this story. It would not even make sense. It is literally a Disney movie. It's crazy.
No, it absolutely is. It's just been bizarre. It's been an incredible story. And the Niners have such belief in this kid. And it's real. It's genuine. It's not in any way contrived. Jaguayo 56 makes a donation. He says 27-21 Niners. Say hi to Dan. Keep up the great work. Tom Pierce makes a donation. Have you guys seen the Josh McCown breakdown of Purdy's film on Underdog Fantasy on YouTube? I have not.
Oh.
It's entitled "Brock Purdy is Better Than You Think."
Oh man, I'll be.
Can we play that? I mean, I don't know if we can play that. I wouldn't mind seeing that. Well, there's no
I don't
doubt.
I don't think we can, but like, man, will I watch it the second the stream's done.
Yeah. But anyway, thank you for everybody who's donated to the show, who's been a member of the show, who's subscribed to the show. 11,602 subscribers as we speak, and over 400 people in the chat as we are almost an hour and a half into it. All right. So what interview did you pull from our many interviews that you could have pulled from? Which one did you go with, Ray?
Okay, so I didn't, because we were, kind of separate this week. I don't really have like a vibe of the bet. So I just pulled 4 that are ready to go, and you tell me what you want to do. All right, we have Alfredo and Zakel, the Purdy roommates.
Right.
Is one of. We have Kevin Givens.
Okay.
We have Ray McLeod, and we have Aziz.
Ooh, I'd say let's start with Aziz. Let's start with I think Aziz is pretty good. I think Aziz is a interesting guy, interesting story. I'm a huge fan of Aziz, so hopefully it wasn't too overly glowing. But I'm a huge fan of Aziz.
Oh,
here it is.
He's the man.
Oh, he's incredible. He would start almost anywhere.
All right, we got Aziz Al-Shaair, Niner linebacker, here in the Niner locker room. And Aziz, man, I followed your career going back to college, and you put up ridiculous tackle totals in college. Where did that come from? And were you always a productive player going back to high school?
Yeah, I just always been super hyper, trying to get to the ball effort. I mean, that's really what we preach now as a defense, but for me, this is how I've always tried to be, is get to the ball every single play. I want to try to make every play I can. So that's just kind of how I've always been.
I was doing an interview a couple weeks ago with Dre, and I'm like, man, okay, I'm going to give you a scenario. I go, you're in a bar fight, and you can have any guy in this room covering you. Who do you got? And he looked around. He's like, I gotta look around. He starts looking around, and he's like, I think Aziz would roll up. Because I think Aziz would roll up and help me.
For sure. And honestly, the one person I would probably pick is Dre.
Would you?
Yeah, for real. Me and him are real close.
Are you?
Yeah, he'll have my back for sure. I have his.
Now, you guys, I would say probably 2 of the hardest hitters on the team. I feel like this team feeds off the linebacker, the physicality that you guys bring. Do you sense that? I mean, it seems like you guys are bouncing around on the field, and the whole vibe is all kind of predicated on you guys.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we pride ourselves on. We get in our huddle before the games. We always talk about it like it starts with us. Like it starts and ends with us. We playing well, the whole defense will play well. You know what I'm saying? If we're not playing as well, it'll show. So we definitely put a lot on our shoulders, our group in general, because obviously we got guys who play on special teams, Oren Burks, Demetrius running and fouls. So those guys are the leader of that unit. And then same with me, Fred, and Dre on defense. It's like we take pride in leading the way on all the groups that we're in.
If you played on a different team, you might have been an all-pro player this year. But here, you're playing some downs, some downs not. Is that hard for you to deal with, or is that like, you know what, I'm happy being on a great team, and let's go get that ring?
No, for sure. I mean, it's always hard, just like your own personal goals.
Right.
It's definitely like an up and down thing, but all in all, through and through, I'm definitely grateful to have been here and spend this time with my brothers, because I think it just makes you better. Like, I always tell the younger guys who are coming in, because, I'll get frustrated. I'll catch myself getting frustrated at times. And then, you see the younger guys who get frustrated, and it's like, I let them know, like, listen, this isn't normal. Like, this is like the Alabama of the NFL when it comes to how we play and how we develop players. You got guys that literally come from the very bottom and work their way up, be behind 3 other dudes that could play on any other team in the NFL, and then you working with us for the last 2-3 years, you become one of those guys that get plugged in when somebody else leaves. So I always try to tell the younger guys, like, to stay the course. This is literally like as good of a group as you'll be around, and if you keep working with us, you'll get a lot better. And I feel like you can get a lot better being here than being most places, just because of the talent level we have.
Marcelino told me that he came here specifically as an undrafted free agent because he's like, man, they're dogs, and I want to run with those guys. What do you see in him? Because he looks like a guy a year from now, 2 years from now, might be able to run and be a starter.
No, for sure. And that's one of the guys, him and Curtis Robinson, are 2 of the guys that I'm always talking to. They are young guys in our room, so
I always get on them and let them know, like, listen, just stay the course. Obviously, I was an undrafted rookie, and both of those guys were as well. So I just try to let them know, like, listen, it's a process, but if you take it one day at a time and keep trying to get better, you'll get right.
How did you not get drafted?
Yeah, so it was an A+. Hey, man.
I mean, seriously.
I couldn't tell.
I mean, you made a ton of tackles.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, but I guess coming out of Florida Atlantic, didn't have as much buzz from our school standpoint. And then also I hurt my knee coming out the draft.
Right.
I tore my ACL my senior year, so just those things. I seen all types of people with those same injuries get drafted and all those things, but it is what it is. I wouldn't change it, to be honest. So.
Niners are happy. Why Niners? How did it work out for the Niners?
Oh, well, my old college D coordinator, Chris Kiffin, he was the defensive assistant.
Yeah.
In 2019 and in 2020, if I'm not mistaken. So, like, he's the one who really brought me here. He told John Lynch and them, like, listen, this guy comes, he's going to make the team. I remember they had John told me that him and Chris had a bet. I think they bet like $1,000 or something that I would or wouldn't make the team.
Right.
Because Chris stood on the table for me from that aspect. And that was just a relationship that I had, and I felt comfortable. I trusted him, what he was telling me, so I decided to come here.
Very cool, very cool. The story that I saw about you when I was first looking at you in college was you saved your family from a kitchen grease fire. Tell us about that, man. I mean, I know you've been asked about it a lot, but could you tell us about it?
So basically, it was during the summertime. I think I was 13 or 12 at the time. But it was during Ramadan. I'm Muslim, so we had to fast, sun up to sundown. So my sister had cooked some chicken or something on the stove, and she left the grease on when she left to go to work. There was nobody else home but me and my little niece and my two little brothers. So it's like 7 o'clock in the morning, and I just keep hearing smoke.
Oh my gosh.
I smell smoke, and I'm hearing the alarms go off. And we used to sleep on the floor. We didn't have any furniture. But when I finally, after hearing the smoke, the alarm go off for 5-6 minutes, I'm thinking my sister's burning something. But then I open my eyes and I just see smoke all through the ceiling. And so then I crawled out to the living room, saw the entire kitchen on fire. Literally had to take my little brothers one at a time, run them out the house. My niece ran out the house and called the police and sat there and watched the house burn down.
Wow. Who's your idol in the game? Did you have somebody that when you were in college or high school that you kind of looked at and said, man, I'd like to model my game after that guy?
I always was into I used to play safety when I was in high school,
Mhm.
so I always loved Sean Taylor. I loved Cam Chancellor. Those are some of the guys I really respected in the game from a linebacker standpoint. Levante David, being from Tampa, and obviously watching the Bucks, he was a guy I always looked up to and modeled my game after as well. So those are probably 3 of the people that I really had a lot of respect for.
When I watch you play, it looks like you like to hit.
Sure. That's what I take my pride in.
You like to
Sure,
hit, don't you?
yeah, I like to be
What's the best hit you had this year?
It's tough. It'll probably be Seattle. I think it was on Thursday night. Had
Okay.
a screenplay, the second or third play of the game.
Who was it that you detonated on?
It was the rookie running back they got over there. It's pretty
Walker?
Good. Yeah, Walker. Kenneth Walker.
Who would you say is the guy that gets guys in this room ready to play? On game day, who's the guy who fires people up, or who fires you up?
I ain't gonna lie to you. I think we all feed off of each other's energy,
Yeah.
but when it starts with our linebacker group, I think the 3 of us, we're always ready to go. We kind of feed off each other's energy. Trey is somebody that for me, I'm always feeding off his energy, vice versa. We always talk about it before the game. Listen, I'm feeding off you. I'm with you. So I think you feel so much more confident when you're playing with the guys you're playing with because you just feel like it's you're unstoppable. So that's the swagger and confidence that we all play with because you know who else is on the field with you. So.
Shanny calls him Tyson.
Oh yeah, call him Mike Tyson.
He looks a little like Tyson.
I know, it's so funny.
That is funny. All right, up front, Kinlaw came back. What does a big body 2-gapper like that do for a guy like yourself or Dre or for the linebackers?
You keep your jersey nice and clean. So
Yeah.
It makes it a lot easier for you to make plays. And I think just all the work he's done to get back, it was a lot. He's been grinding, going through a lot to be to this point. And I think it's just honestly great to have him back. You feel, like I said, clean. You feel
Seriously.
good. Just like I told you earlier, you feel confident when you know the guys that you got, that you're playing with. That people ain't just about to be flying up, getting up to you. So.
He's a monster, man. He takes on guys, man. It's unbelievable. 2 last ones. Dallas. Give me your thought on Dallas. What do you think of Cowboys offense? How do they look to you when you watch them?
No, I think they're a really good team. I think they run the ball pretty well. Their offensive line is really, really good. They got really good skill players. Obviously, the running backs, you got always respect Zeke.
Pollard, yeah.
Pollard, I think, is really explosive. He can take it to the house. Like he showed it multiple times throughout the year. I think that's why he earned himself a Pro Bowl. Also, I mean, he's a Pro Bowler and he was the backup, so that just shows a lot of respect for his game and what he can do as well. So, and obviously, you talk about Dak. I think he's a really good quarterback. He's really just good in the pocket, his presence, and he can run around as well. So.
Last one, Micah Parsons. You don't play against him, and you probably don't watch film of him, but I know you know all about him. So, what do you think of Parsons?
I think he's a really good player. I'm all for the yapping and the talking because I be talking my own noise. So I respect him as a player. I think he's a really good player. And it's hard to have success in this league, period. And the success he had as a rookie, regardless of whatever crap people might have gave him for stuff he might have said, I think it spoke for itself. And also to come back in the next year and have no drop off, and he's playing just as a high level as he was the year before. So that says a lot. So you definitely got to respect his game and respect what he does.
Man, I love watching your game, man. Keep flying around, doing your thing, man. We appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
That was awesome. There you go. Azeez Al-Shaair inside the Niner locker room from earlier this week. And, it's hard to believe we did all these interviews all this year. That was the first time all year that I talked to Azeez. And he's just isn't he a great interview? I mean, seriously, he gives you thought-provoking answers, long answers, good personality, loves to play the game. Kind of laughed when I'm like, you like to hit people, don't you? He's like, it's like he loves to hit. He loves to hit. The linebackers on this team are fun to watch, man. Right, you're muted. There you go. Wait.
Yeah, I was gonna say two things. Okay, one was I'm sure you went through this, being young in the industry, and all of a sudden you're like, that guy's how old? I'm this what? How? I just learned Fred Warner is a year younger than me. And that just blew my mind. What the hell, man? But anyway, that's one about the linebackers. Two is, so that was the first time I was watching that interview. I think he really, the coolest thing I heard on there was the fact that he equated the 49ers to Alabama, because it's the nine, you don't really see this in the NFL. I guess you could say the Patriots, even in a way, maybe Tomlin Steelers, but a legitimately having a program where it's the team kind of plays the same way every year. It doesn't really matter who they get guys to play. And, it's so true because McCrary Ball, I mean, that guy's going to be a stud because from the beginning of the year, he's I had offers all over, I could be playing, but instead I listen to these guys. I trust them. I'm going to stay here. I'm going to be a baller, and then I'm going to get paid too. And it's just going to be next man up. And then I'm going to be telling a new young man, who's fresh out the draft, I'm going to be telling them the same thing. So it's kind of cool how that's working. It is becoming a program, getting dudes from nowhere and just turn them into dogs.
Yeah. Yeah. MF says, where will Parsons be lining up tomorrow? All over the formation. I mean, that's the short answer. I mean, I think they're going to move Parsons around. I really do. I would say get ready to see Parsons in a lot of different areas. Now, if you look at the depth chart, he's listed as the strong side backer, but he could play off the shoulder of Dorrance Armstrong, or he could play off the shoulder of DeMarcus Lawrence, or they could, line up guys wide and shoot him inside. I think I'm a little worried about Parsons because Parsons has so much speed that I'm afraid that he may be able to neutralize the escapability of Brock Purdy. So I would like to see the Niners, especially if Parsons is over pursuing early in the game, like I expect him to, I'd like to see the Niners use his pursuit against him and bootleg to his side, and see, and if he wants to go hunt quarterbacks, great. Let him come running down the line and then have Brock, bootleg right off of him and work it that way. But I'll say this: the Niners better do what Tampa didn't do last week. Tampa didn't account for Parsons, I think, on 3 or 4 plays that I saw where he was totally unblocked. Cannot happen. Can't happen once. If it happens once, he can ruin the game. So you got to respect Micah Parsons for sure. Should we play one more? Should we play maybe which one? I mean, Ray or Zakel and Gutierrez, either one. Ray was really good today. Yesterday. He's always really good. Talked to him a little bit about, what his plans are before the game, after the game, that kind of thing. You want to hear a little Ray?
I'd say either put it up to the chat or
okay.
I personally, I kind of almost want to see the Alfredo and Zakel because let's go. I haven't seen that one yet.
Well, let's go Alfredo. Gutierrez and Nick Zakel. 2 guys.
We're here in the Niner locker room with Alfredo.
Roommates. Here we go.
All right, we're here in the Niner locker room with Alfredo Gutierrez and Nick Zakel. Good to see you guys.
Good to see you.
The big nasties. We're in here. All right, you guys are first-year players. Alfredo's actually not a first-year player, but you're a first-year player. How's it been so far? What's this year been like? You guys are still playing here in January.
Yeah, it's a great experience. A lot of great guys in this locker room. We've been able to make a lot of memories, but the job's not finished yet, and we got a lot of work to do. We want to have the ultimate goal of winning the Super Bowl.
Alfredo, what was your first year in the league like? And if you were given advice to a young guy coming into the league, what would your advice be?
Well, my first year was awesome because we reached the finals, the NFC championship. So, my advice to these guys, just keep working, waiting for the opportunity. Because last time, I think, one of the first guys, first year's guys got opportunity on one of the last games. So, just keep pushing, keep working, and you got the chance to play.
All right, you guys, you two and Brock are your roommates together. Who set that up? Whose idea was it for you guys to live together? Or do they tell you guys, you know what, rookies, maybe find another rookie to live with? How did you guys find each other?
No, I think originally it was going to be like me and Brock were talking about planning on living together, and then kind of Fredo brought it up to us, and we thought, hey, three's company, that would be a great idea, and I'm really happy we did that. We've been able to make a lot of great memories. I've enjoyed living with the both of them. It's really great to have kind of like that built-in, like someone to go home to hang out with and all that.
I asked Brock at the beginning, a couple of weeks ago, I said, hey, if you buy some food and you put it in the fridge and you come home and it's eaten, who's most likely eating it? Do you guys want to guess who he said?
Did you say Alfredo?
You said Alfredo.
Hey, well, me, I never touched the refrigerator, but I'll take it.
Yeah, that's.
So who shops? Who does the shopping in the apartment? Do you guys shop?
He does and Brock. I don't really do shopping.
Yeah, but I mean it's very limited in the shopping. It's pretty much facility home.
Yeah,
for most of us.
Can you guys go shopping with Brock these days now that he's a starting quarterback, or does it take too long because people recognize him now?
Probably not now.
Remember Christmas? We got
Christmas we walked around. Yeah, Christmas we were good. We were fine. No one really. That was kind of before he really blew up, but. Yeah, now it'd be tough for sure.
When Jimmy went down with the injury several weeks ago, the Miami game, did you guys think at any point that you could be still playing here in the division round? What was the feeling like when that happened?
You were heartbroken for Jimmy for sure, but then also kind of back of your mind, you're thinking how excited we were for Brock to finally get his opportunity, just because we've seen personally how much he prepares himself for that, and I just think that really kind of him giving that opportunity and how he took it and ran with it, I think we're really happy for him, really proud for him. I think that. Wouldn't be surprised if you told us we were here now, just because I think that we know how great of a team we are. We know what Brock is capable of. And I think that's something that we're just accomplishing what we're able to.
Yeah, like you said, I know Brock is capable of doing this stuff, and of course for seeing Jimmy going down like that was heartbroken. But I remember that game when we saw Brock going in, we looked at each other and said like, our boy is in, you know. So we were happy for Brock, but he did a good job since the first game. He's keep doing a good job, so we're happy for him.
Hasn't lost yet. Has he changed at all? I know he probably hasn't, but you guys are probably giving him a bunch of crap about it.
Oh yeah.
Have you told him that he's changed?
I mean, he's not, but we say that.
You got to mess him a little bit, keep him grounded. But no, he's still the same old guy. kind of. He's just grounded himself, and I think that's kind of really what brings about a lot of his success. Is just how good of a person he is, and how that hasn't changed through the success we've had as a team.
What do you guys appreciate about Brock as a player? Because I mean, obviously you guys play the game and you know how it's played. What he's done is not normal. It's not something you see every day. But what do you think of just how he's played?
I mean, so far he's been playing good, and sometimes like before the season or like mid-season when we have like a little free time, we used to watch Brock play in college, and we used to make fun of Brock, like if he missed this pass or I think he run a couple times, and I mean now he's playing really good. That he's changed. I mean he's changed as a player in college now, but he's doing pretty good now.
Yeah, I would say.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever get into arguments in the apartment? Do you ever sit there and what do you guys? What do you
like?
No, because that's why it's really just
It's just it's just like a bunch of college guys.
Exactly. It's hanging out. There's nothing like we don't cook enough for like dishes to be left out, but like there's not really much we can fight about.
I think that the only day that we had a mess was after Christmas. Gift boxes and all that, and we talk and then we set a date of cleaning and that's it. But no, we never argue, and I think we had a pretty good thing going, so we're happy about it.
There you go. What you guys watch Dallas and watch the film? What's the D line's deep and they got a lot of pass rushers. What do they look like to you guys on film?
Yeah, I think they're a really good unit, especially guys on the edge. I think that they play hard, they play fast. I think they can do a lot of things, especially with all the twisting games they run. I think that we're really going to have really have to bring our A game, really have to be on our assignments, really have to bring our toughness to the ball. I think something that I think that if we stick to the plan, I think we're going to be successful.
What do you think? What do they look
definitely.
like?
Well, we watched the film since yesterday, and I think they're pretty good. They have a pretty good up front on defense. And like Nick said, we had to keep on our fundamentals and keep pushing, keep working, and I think we're going to have a pretty good day on Sunday.
Last one for you guys. We got to jump here. What do you guys need to do in this game to win?
Whatever it takes.
Play our ball.
Yeah, whatever.
Play our ball. Don't turn it over. I think that's the biggest thing we've been going.
That's just me in the background right there.
Play the end here. These guys dap each other up at the end.
I think that kind of playing smart, playing our game, not really beating ourselves at any point. I think that's something that will really lead us, help us to a victory.
Hey, wish you guys nothing but success, man. Thanks for the time. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. That was great.
There you go. Little Nick Sikel and Alfredo Gutierrez. Some people saying Nick Sikel looks short. No. Alfredo Gutierrez is 6'9". Nick Sikel is 6'5". He just looks short next to Alfredo.
He's the tallest guy in the locker room. He's taller than Armstead.
Like, how great though are those two guys and that whole? I mean, it seriously is. It's like it's Brock Purdy, Nick Sikel, and Alfredo Gutierrez, and it's just like it's like three college guys just living in an apartment. You know,
I know. I don't know if anyone even no one was talking about the fact that Brock had roommates. I had no idea that he even did until their Christmas week when we ended up talking to Zakel, because all of a sudden we saw all of these like Christmas cards in everyone's locker, and it was like a Photoshop thing with like Brock and Zakel and Alfredo. And it was kind of like, that's kind of an interesting group of guys to be put on. Like, what's going on here? And then we talked to Zakel and then he dropped the roommate thing. That might have been breaking news.
Oh, I know that was that. But those guys are good dudes. Zakel's got a big future. I think he's a starter maybe at right guard. I would not be surprised if the Niners let McGlinchey walk at the end of the year, move Burford from right guard to right tackle, and put Zakel at right guard. And you might see a Zakel Burford, right side of your offensive line next year. I could see it. Just a thought.
I could see it too.
That would be an awful big step up for Burford. He'd have to really, get quicker, faster. I mean, it would really be a challenge. But I think Zakel's a starter, and I think Burford's a starter. Burford's played right tackle. He's played right guard. He's played, he's really played all over the line. So makes a lot of sense. All right, that's going to do it for us. Rye, you got it. So who are you going with tomorrow? You going with Cincy? You going with Buffalo? Who are you going with?
To be honest, I mean, gambling wise, I kind of, I did the square ball of all square balls, and it just happened to work out where, I did the same tease everyone did with Chiefs, Eagles. Tomorrow, I'm kind of, it's going to be, I don't want to bet anything tomorrow just because I want to sit back, enjoy the action. But that said, I do think that the Niners are going to take care of them. I think it's going to be close all game, but I eventually I think that Niners are going to be able to get margin versus Cowboys team. I'll say they win by 8. I'll say Niners 28-20.
28-20. I'm saying 31-21 49ers. I had somebody ask me earlier in the stream, is there a rookie quarterback in the NFL draft that I like this year? Well, there's a lot of quarterbacks in the draft this year, and there's lots of time between now and the April draft to look at it. But I mean, just off the start, I mean, obviously CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, Will Levis, Anthony Richardson, I think those guys are all going in the first round. And Richardson is a crazy athlete, 6'3, 230, redshirt sophomore, incredible athlete. Then after the first round, you got Hendon Hooker from Tennessee, and you got Tanner McKee from Stanford. And then further down, like day 3, I think guys that are interesting, Jake Haener from Fresno State, Stetson Bennett from Georgia, big fan of Max Duggan from TCU. I like DTR, Dorian Thompson-Robinson from UCLA. But the guy that I'm going to be taking a real extra look at because I really love the way he played this year, and is Adrian Martinez, the K-State quarterback, the Nebraska transfer, 6'3", 225, had a real good year at K-State. They beat TCU at the end of the year. Adrian Martinez is the guy that I'm going to be looking at as we get closer to the draft. All right. I like the.
By the way,
yeah,
I got to say, I love Richardson. I love him.
Yeah.
It is insanity that he's mocked as a top 10 guy. I think it's criminal that he isn't coming back for another year of college because he needs more refinement, but he has all the tools. I feel like one more year and he is like a top 5 pick that you can kind of bank on. And now, I mean, this draft is, it's with quarterback. I have no idea who's going to be good in this draft. I have no real strong opinions. And I think that, like, especially if Brock wins this game and the run keeps going, I think there's going to be a major recalculation of, like, you know what? Maybe we stop taking all these lottery tickets. Maybe we just load up on weapons and draft a guy with a lot of experience that seems tough and smart and, on a cheap deal in the later rounds and see how it goes. But I mean,
it's interesting. I mean, I would say this. I mean, Anthony Richardson is 6'4", 232 pounds. He is a difference maker. And man, if the 49ers look at this year and say, okay, we're going with Brock Purdy, and they wind up trading Trey Lance and they get a few draft picks, man, I'd have some interest in Richardson. Now, he's not the same kind of player as like a Purdy, as far as Purdy was a 4-year starter and he's totally refined. Richardson's more of like taking a flyer on a crazy athlete, but 6'3", 235 with that kind of athleticism, that kind of arm strength, I don't know, man. If I wouldn't take him in the first round, I don't think, but man, if I had a high second round pick and Anthony Richardson was on the board, I'd have a hard time passing him up.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, I like Jake Haener, but he's 6 feet, 195. I like Stetson Bennett, but he's not even 6 feet. He's probably 5'11". I like Duggan as a runner, but not that much as a passer. I like Dorian Thompson as a runner, but he's a really inconsistent player. Aiden O'Connell from Purdue's not bad. Tanner Morgan from Minnesota's not bad. Malik Cunningham from Louisville's not bad. I mean, there's some interesting guys for sure. The kid Lindsey Scott from Incarnate Word is another great athlete, 5'11", 215 pounds. But of all the quarterbacks, the guy that Tanner McKee, 6'6", 225, and is really accurate, I think he could be better in the NFL than he was at Stanford. But yeah, to me, Anthony Richardson is very, very interesting player. I'd have a hard time passing him. I can't take him in round 1. But if I traded Trey and I got multiple picks and somehow I'm sitting there in round 2 and he's on the board, as deep as this team is, man, I mean, Anthony Richardson, you could have a player that a year from now, somebody's giving you multiple number 1s for, because he's that kind of a big time athlete. There's very few guys that have the athleticism, size, and strength of Anthony Richardson. So just a thought. All right. I like the Niners to beat the Cowboys tomorrow. I think it's going to come down to I think the 49ers are going to be able to run it on Dallas. I think Dallas is going to have some success throwing it on the Niners. And I think it's going to come down to who takes better care of the football. And I think the 49ers are going to be +2 at the end of the day on turnovers. And I think they're going to have a nice, comfortable win. I'll say 31-21, but I don't think it's going to be that close. I see Dallas with a late touchdown to make it look closer than it is. I'm thinking it's like 31-7, and then the Cowboys get like a couple touchdowns in the second half to make it 31-21. And the 49ers, work the clock a lot in the second half. And so I'm going 31-21 49ers, and they're moving on to Philly. Philly looked really good tonight. That's all I got to say about that. But Rye, you got a final thought on our way out the door here? People should check us out tomorrow. Check me out at 1:00 on 95.7 The Game, and then check us out in the live stream tomorrow night after the game.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of shots of McCarthy with like a really dumb look on his face tomorrow, and everyone's going to be like, oh my God, why did I bet on Mike McCarthy and the Cowboys? I think the Niners are going to take care of it. I even think Brock Purdy turns it over tomorrow. I think just because Dallas's defense is so opportunistic, he'll turn it over once tomorrow, I bet, and it's not going to matter because Maher's going to miss at least one kick. Dak's going to turn the ball over at least once, and Niners are just too talented. Their coaching superior. Their players are superior. Their mindset superior. Locker room superior. Home field advantage. Niners.
One mention here, if you're one of the near 400 people still in the chat here as we're 2 hours in at 11:30 on the West Coast, hit like, hit subscribe, become a subscriber of the Krueg Show. And one prediction for tomorrow on the way out the door. Tomorrow will be Mike McCarthy's final game as the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. How about them Cowboys?
Yeah, never met a man I've been scared of. Careful, you won't get exactly what you asked for. Here for whatever you bring me, getting handled. I answer to no